For many people that lived in the 1950s, whenever they see 50s memorabilia, they look back at it fondly, and a sense of nostalgia develops because of how strongly impacted they were by this decade, and more so in a positive manner. Well, for most people, definitely not all. The United States was going through a period of prosperity during the 1950s, where you had many Americans that were actually able to live out the American dream. They were actually able to buy a house, they were able to buy a car, they were able to raise a family in relative comfort, and they were actually able to purchase a lot of products and expand on consumerism. They were able to buy brand new TVs, they were able to buy brand new radios, buy new appliances, new refrigerators, you name it, they could buy it and they could afford it. Now, this was not like the Roaring 20s where a lot of that was built on a house of cards. The 50s had real money, and they had real savings, and they had real prosperity. And so you had a lot of Americans living well during the 50s, and the nuclear family, this was the model family that was pushed on American society, where you had a man working a good job, a stay-at-home wife, and 2 or 3 kids living in a suburban household. And this was the model family that was pushed throughout society. And so many people benefited from prosperity during the 1950s. Our soldiers actually, most of our soldiers benefited from the prosperity of the 1950s thanks to our GI Bill that is still useful to this day, where they were able to get funding for their colleges, they were actually able to get better loan rates, able to get access to business loans and help start up there so they could get adapted better to society after coming back from war. So that GI Bill was definitely beneficial to our US soldiers. However, not everybody benefited from the prosperity of the 1950s. One of the overlooked things about the prosperity in the 50s was the resentment of women during the 50s. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you got to remember, many women in the 40s helped build the weapons of war that helped us succeed in defeating Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan during World War II. And many women liked the idea of being independent and started making their own money. And now they're being told by society that they need to come back home and start being part of the model nuclear family. And so that resentment actually was there. And it just gets overlooked a lot because it got erupted in the 60s and 70s, but it actually began in the 50s. And then also, not to mention the fact that many African Americans, about half of them, lived below the poverty level of the 50s, as they were not able to benefit from the prosperity of the United States due to segregation, due to racial policies. And this also was true for many Hispanics during the 50s as well. So prosperity was good for many, but not good for all.